Do they go to the basketball game?
Hope so. That's the goal.
Beaver gets so bad.
Yeah, they're usually good.
Yeah. I shouldn't say that, actually, the game's not over.
Yeah. Think we're good?
Okay. Go ahead and get this started and I was gonna start us off, look over the calendar.
What's up?
With your
Do all the,
Oh, okay.
call to order, President, pledge
Let's
allegiance.
everyone stand for the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I get a roll call.
Brandon Earl.
Here.
Andrea Kriples.
Here.
Sarah Lawrence.
Here.
Jason Newberry. Here. Jessica Seeliger.
Here.
Robert White. Here. Pat Zika.
Here.
Okay. So I have an agenda to go off of, so.
Good.
Just here for the calendar committee?
Yes, just here. So, thank you all for coming tonight. Scheduled this a little early because we had sub-state tonight, and then they moved the game back even an hour, so it'll be back to back. So,
Do we need to have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Oh, sorry.
We need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
What agenda? Yeah, what is our, just calendar review?
Yeah, we don't,
Yeah, just the calendar.
Okay. We need a motion to adopt the calendar agenda.
so moved.
Okay. A second. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say.
Sorry for any confusion.
You're all right.
No, that's good. Okay, so the calendar committee met, Pat representing you on that committee, and discussed, obviously all the missing time we've had with the weather this year, which has been crazy. And so everybody's done the best they can, but the paper in front of you that has the hours that I sent out to you about a week ago or so, is the exact same paper that I handed out at that meeting that gave some options, as you can see, for brainstorming. That doesn't mean that has to be it, but those are kind of the main things that typically happen as far as adding days back into the calendar or adding minutes, or typically how districts tackle these situations where we need to get some time back. And so the committee met, and after discussion, the recommendation from the committee, which I sent out to you, the preferred recommendation was to add April 21st as a student contact day, and then to add 15 minutes to the school day, to all the school days after spring break, which is the fourth brainstorming option on your paper. And then the committee's second recommendation, if the board did not like, the preferred recommendation was to add both April 18th and April 21st back into the calendar as student days, and then add 5 minutes to the school day after spring break. And so that is what came out of that committee. That committee is a committee that's listed in the negotiated agreement, and specifically lines out who is in there. It's kind of one of the more democratic committees that we have. And so, so there's representation from each building, and then administration, and then a board member on there as well. So that is your recommendation from those committees. You also have a 24-25 calendar, a current updated calendar in front of you. That does include the May 2nd student contact day that the board changed from an in-service day back into a student day. In an earlier meeting and our first adjustment to the calendar. And so, this is where we sit with that calendar and with the number of days that unfortunately have had to be called this year.
So May 2nd's added back in, but we're
Yes.
still short, basically 2.5 to 3 days, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, technically 2.5 days is what we're officially short. So 3 days would be a buffer.
I'll
Are
start it.
the elementary and middle school just 3 hours short?
Less than 3.
Yeah, yes, they're different if because they have different hours. They get out later
Right.
than others due to transportation. So
The only thing I was thinking about was if we do the 15-minute one, could those two schools, the time you get out is not that big a deal to all the schools, if they would have to go the extra 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's up to the board. My recommendation is always to keep the district going on the same schedule, and then if you want to make an alternate change, do that in a new school year. But that's just my recommendation. The board can absolutely do that because Pat is correct. The hours are different based off of the different levels because of how it's set up.
One thing that I was wondering is because the middle school and elementary only need less than 3 hours, I wondered about our last day for them, for that section, just being a full day instead of a half day. That's no disruption at all to the students.
Say that again.
If the elementary and middle, if we just extended our last day instead of being a half day, if we just made it a full day, that would make up that section of students, the middle school and elementary.
So yeah, so the 22nd would go from a half day to a full day.
Okay, but you still gotta address the senior, I mean, you gotta address the
Yeah.
seniors somewhere, and it wouldn't be fair to add days for them and not add days.
But their days are already extended anyway, like they go longer anyway, the elementary does.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if we added the 18th back for just seniors or just the high school, that wouldn't be, I don't know.
Any senior hours just have to be made up before they leave. So that's the difference.
Buddy, do you understand what I said?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
that,
just that they need less hours.
yeah, I mean, so
I
they
have a
would,
problem
they
with
would
just
take,
adding minutes though, because
too.
what are we actually getting our kids by just adding the minutes?
so the high school and middle school is 2 minutes probably, you don't notice it, it's just 2 minutes per class probably.
Right, and that's what I'm saying is we're trying to make up time for education loss, so I don't know how it's benefiting the students.
That's what I mean, it's
that's
just, you
where
know, a
I'm
couple
trying to-
minutes, you're not gonna notice
Right.
that, but the elementary, 15
Also,
minutes.
if we go 15 more minutes at the high school and the middle school, those are two, I mean, we've got sports in those buildings. So we're pushing practices back and kids are getting home later, and I think that's something that we need to think about. And then not to mention, I mean, there's still, if they were gonna leave for a baseball game at 3, instead of missing 5 minutes of school, now we're looking at them missing 20 minutes of school.
No, because you're making they're gonna add minutes to each class. They're not gonna make it at the end of the day.
Still missing 20
You're
minutes.
still
Yeah.
missing 20
Less than
minutes
the
of
same
school.
amount of time.
And so it's not really making anything up for our students. And that's, I
If
just,
school gets out at 3:15 instead of 3:05, or whatever it
Yeah.
is, you're still losing time.
Just in
But we're making it up, I mean,
one or
isn't
two
that-
classes.
I don't know, I don't understand. You're saying the best, you guys are saying the best way to make up time is in bigger chunks than small minutes.
in my opinion,
agree.
Being like the 15 minutes.
I like
like a
adding
whole
days.
day,
I like a day.
I like adding days.
because then you get a whole day of learning and not just,
I think by adding minutes, all we're doing is checking box. We're not educating, and that's what that should be our primary focus. It's not just X amount of time with kids, it's getting the education to kids.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
I
where
agree
I'm
on
gonna
that.
be.
My thing is add the 18th and 21st back, and you add 5 minutes to each day. You're at least getting 2 extra days back.
If we add 18 and 21st, that gets us 2 back, right?
Yeah, but that's,
Plus the 5 minutes.
Plus the 5 minutes.
I think that's gonna be tricky, that's the weekend that everybody's kind of, I know all these are gonna be hard, but, I know, just for the record, for me, it makes sense I think I'm in favor of adding, I know you don't wanna separate the schools, but I think if we just did it 2 chunks, the high school and then everybody else, if we just extend the day for the middle school and high school, that would disrupt them not at all. It would add a half day on, give them their 3 hours that they need. And then I would be fine with adding days in for high school. I just don't think it's fair that we add the days in for elementary when they already go longer anyway. And they don't need it. I mean, I'm not saying they don't need it, but
So that's a negotiated agreement work with that.
What's
Because
that?
there's hours that are specified in it.
Yeah,
And those hours are specified at the elementary and at the middle school and at the high school.
What do you mean?
Um,
That's what's up here?
In the negotiated agreement. Here it is.
Starting time and ending time, is that what you mean?
I don't think it's in there.
Well,
It's not anymore. I looked the other day.
Yeah, we changed that last year in
Because when we were
negotiations.
having this discussion, I think the actual start time and end time. I don't remember taking it out last year.
I remember we changed in negotiations last year,
We changed,
when the elementaries, we shortened that.
when the teachers
Can leave.
can leave,
At the
but it
elementaries.
doesn't have the actual hours.
No, there's no listed hours, it's just starting time and when you can leave. If you take both of those days, as far as finals go, I think we'd have to excuse those days for people that have,
I'm almost thinking the same thing too,
Yeah,
because I mean, I know
I don't want that.
typically, you know, if we don't have to be back for work, we would use that extra time, but I mean, how many parents are actually gonna have that unless they've already taken it off, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big one for me too, I just don't wanna, with the families and the students are trying to be responsible and doing things on the days that were scheduled, I don't wanna be, that to be used against them for like the finals. Go against the final policy.
Do we have teachers that are gonna be on? And will we have subs to cover if they're
Yeah,
gone?
I wonder if that is.
there will.
I
not
think,
be.
I mean,
don't know.
honestly, in a perfect world, I think that if we would have done this Friday, that would have been better. I know
I do too.
if that's in the agreement, I think that would have been,
Can we
the
still take
answer-
Friday?
Can we not do Friday?
Can we use this Friday? The seventh?
It's, you can,
mean, snow days are
it's a work
the
day.
problem is it's a work day and we listed it in the agreement.
Yeah,
We thought we were doing the right thing by listing the dates, but
Oh, I see, yeah.
it's a work day in the agreement and it's pretty quick for the community.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but I thought, well, we call it a snow day.
But technically, I mean, you would have to probably get a lesson, probably, or at least be fair to WNEA and talk about it.
At the high school, I mean, the 15 minutes is just adding 1 minute per class. There's 9 classes, right? I think somebody said that.
Depends on the day. If it's a red day or a white
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, just say there's 9. I think one of those days, there's 9 hours, 9 classes. So by adding 1 minute, by adding 2 minutes to those, you've got your 15 minutes, which that won't
Isn't
be
gonna
wasted.
do anything for anybody, you're
What's
not
that?
even gonna notice it.
They won't even notice it, so it's not gonna be wasted really.
but it's not gonna be time that they're
added.
learning.
It's not gonna be.
It's not gonna help our students achieve anymore.
So we need 2 full days and if
Wait,
we did
explain that to me. I mean, honestly, I'm just confused why.
Because they missed days, I mean, they missed a
They
whole
missed-
class period, and you're not even gonna notice an extra minute a day, they're not gonna get that class period back 3 times.
Sarah, to answer your question, 2.5 days covers it. 3 days would be going up half day
Okay.
for a future buffer.
What I was
in case
getting
of-
at though is
Oh, sorry.
if we could do 2 full days and then add a half day in minutes, I didn't know how the board felt about that, or is that still too much, like is that
No,
still
that's
too-
what the option with the 5 minutes would be.
Yeah, that's right, so either we agree that the 5 minutes is okay or we don't, I mean,
Right.
we can't have it both ways, like, it's either, it was okay for this, but it's not okay for.
I mean, it just does nothing but put minutes on clock.
Or at least you get 2 full days back of the 3, if you do the 18th
That's
and
what I'm saying,
21st.
I feel like that's kind of a compromise, you're getting 2 full days and
If
then.
we have to compromise, that's where I compromise, but I stand by still thinking that minutes, as Jason put it, just checks the box.
Can you not
I mean,
make
we're
the
not the only
16th
school
a day for
district going through
seniors?
this.
April 16th, their last day is the 15th, can you make it the 16th?
Yes.
You mean May 16th?
May 16th.
Yeah, you would have to, if you added days, you would need to add a day for the seniors too, in order to make that work.
So we could add that day. I know a few people didn't want to, but
That wouldn't work for
So
the
we
rest of
could
the
add- April 21st. And change May 16th to a senior day,
there's 2 days and go all day no, that's.
Okay, what was that one that you just added there?
May 16th for seniors.
Because right now 15th is their
I
last day.
wonder, I don't know, do you think some, like, graduation is that weekend, do you think some of them have, like, plans, like family coming to
Oh,
town,
yeah, they
you know,
do.
like,
Absolutely.
They
A
do
lot of them
probably.
have parties
That's what I
on.
worry
That
about
night,
that.
yeah.
Most people use that day to
Yeah.
get ready for
Or
things.
they'll have a party that night, yeah, that's kinda right.
So you still can do it, but yes, that is it.
How much are the kids helping? Is it just parents doing it? I know my kids.
And we got state still on the horizon. And that's gonna
The only way
potentially generate another day.
Potentially. If the
If the
boys,
boys make it.
if the boys make it, then they will play on a school day on that Wednesday. And if they get the early game, which is the 2:00 game, and everybody has to travel to Salina, that's typically when we get a billion people who want to ask off. And then the girls' first day would be
Thursday.
which is a parent-teacher conference day. And so it's all about whether they get the 2:00 game or not. Because if they get a later game, then we can usually make it through the day. It's just that when we get scheduled on that 2:00 game, that makes it tough.
If they had like a 2:00 game, could they just be like let out at 11:30? I mean, whatever that time is at lunchtime, so that you're just losing half a day.
We could.
Yeah.
In this
But we lose those
situation,
hours, right?
What?
But
Yeah,
we
you'd lose those
You'd lose
hours,
the
but I'm
half day.
saying, not,
you'd lose the half.
instead of the whole day like
Right.
we've done, just,
So then we'd need 3 days.
In this situation, more than likely that would make sense. I still don't love the educational piece of that because I don't think we'd get as much accomplished that day.
Right.
But yes, in this situation, we're struggling for hours. That is something we could do is go half a day. So
So what did you find out about the negotiated agreement about the 7th?
it says under hours, professional employees will be expected to be on duty at least 10 minutes before the first class period, remain on duty at least 30 minutes after the end of the last period or activity, or until 3:40, whichever comes first. All employees will report by 7:50 a.m. Student start time is 8 a.m. One of the things that the elementary teachers have brought up is the start time for elementary used to be 8:10. At some point, it got bumped back to 8 o'clock. And so that has been a discussion as to fixing that in the future. But that's in the language, so that would need to go through negotiations.
it got moved from 8:10 to 8 o'clock, so that there was this program called Prairie that gave us laptops, everyone laptops. And so by moving from 8:10 to 8 o'clock, we could take half a day a month off and have computer training. That's why, and it's just never moved back, and the half day went away, but the time didn't change. You know,
So there was
Bob?
something about construction
Yeah.
when Harper was in first grade. The last like 2 weeks. And I remember start time changing.
After all discussion, I still like the 2 days off and adding the 5. Without adding more into the end of the year or going 25 minutes a day or something.
And I'm good with that too, but how does everybody else feel about for the elementary and middle extending the last day to full day? Am I the only one that thinks,
The high school and middle?
elementary and middle, since they're only short those 2.75 hours, if we just made that last day a full
So
day?
you wanna let the
So-
elementary still be out the 18th and 21st then?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
that's
no.
fine.
I don't think we can do that.
we don't
Not if
wanna
we're
do
gonna do
that.
those days, I don't think we can. Yeah, I
That'd
don't,
be a nightmare for
Parents have trouble with that one.
yeah, that would be.
let's just move real quick and away to just lose one day.
So I could kinda get on board with the 2 days and the 5 minutes. At least, like Brandon said, at least we're getting 2 full days. I'm not a big fan of the minute thing, because I don't think that we're really accomplishing what we need to accomplish, but it gets us across the finish line for this year.
I don't know any other, I don't like the minutes either, but I think that's gonna be our best
Just 5 minutes.
option. It is just 5 minutes, but what are they gonna learn in 5 minutes that makes up for those days those school days they missed?
So are we gonna extend the elementary 5 minutes too then? Even though they're good?
I just don't think elementary needs the,
I don't
or
think so
middle
either.
school
Or
needs the
middle
extra
school.
minutes.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be across the board. Because you
Usually a
got,
lot of high schools.
you got a lot of parents that are counting on those high school kids to be home to watch the younger kids. And if the high school kids are in school, then the younger kids are home.
so.
Okay, so if we go with that, then
Across the board.
as far as the finals, we're gonna, what do you think about that? Just excusing those, not really, it's not, I mean, I don't want, I wouldn't wanna,
I don't think.
yeah, I was gonna say, I wouldn't wanna say it out loud.
We just did.
Yeah, that's what I wouldn't wanna publicize that.
Yeah, I've shared my opinion on that. I don't think it should go towards them, the policy.
Where do you draw the line for that?
What do you mean?
If you're not gonna have effect,
Because it was unplanned. I mean, it was like, they had vacations, appointments,
It wasn't
whatever.
supposed to be school.
well,
I
I'm
mean-
telling you right now, if you're gonna miss the 2 days and you still have an A, you should be good, but if you're gonna miss the 2 days and have a B, then it's a different story.
Well, the A isn't in our policy.
Right.
Yeah, we didn't have that in there.
I mean, it's almost the equivalent of taking spring break. I mean, I know a lot of people are worried we do that. I wouldn't touch that because people already have travel plans. And with an extended weekend like that, people probably already have travel plans. I mean, some, not all, but some.
Nowadays, it seems like everybody goes somewhere.
I know it's not ideal, but it seems like the 7th, which is Friday, it's not a lot of time. I don't love that. But it's gonna be potentially the least impactful based on the surrounding dates. And then either the 13th or the 14th of March.
Well, I think the issue you have with the 7th, which is in 3 days, is
It's in the
do you have enough
contract.
food? Well, that, but do you have enough food for the school, so you have to order that, pre-order that?
It's in the negotiated agreement.
It's in the agreement now,
That day
the
is-
7th, that they'll have 7th as a
Oh.
flex day. That's where.
Okay, so it's a no-go
Because
from the
I,
negotiating agreement.
that was my idea
Okay.
too, and I suggested to Adam that we call and ask our attorney if it was even possible, but he said it
Okay,
wasn't
so
a
that's
popular
not even an
opinion,
option.
so
Okay,
it's kind of off the table unfortunately.
What about going all day to, instead of a half day on the 22nd, going all day,
23rd? Oh,
22nd for students?
You're still, that doesn't affect your seniors, though.
yeah, they're already
Seniors
gone.
are already gone.
So you're in 9th through 11th.
So it has to be between March 10th and May 15th.
They're both about the same.
Is there any flexibility on the 13th and 14th per the negotiated agreement?
Of March?
Mhm.
That's the state tournament, so
Of which ones?
March 13th and 14th?
there's already no school. Oh, you mean go to school those days?
Yes.
Oh, we
Like,
have
yeah.
what are the
conferences.
limitations on our negotiated agreement? Like
None on those, it's just that it's
Just
conferences
that we have the
and
conferences and parents already scheduled during the middle of the day.
And
For
state
both of
tournament.
those days?
Nobody has school the 14th.
That'd be weird to not have school on
Yeah.
Thursday, but then have school on Friday.
that's why I like going back to. We used to just halfway.
I mean, conferences can be moved though, too.
They may have to be if we're, as we run into, right?
Yeah, we'll have to do the best we can.
Depending
the
on
third-
state, last year they had to be moved.
The 11th is in the evening, the 13th is all day and into the evening. But our hours for conferences are the same as student contact, so
So you
it's,
still need
it's the same.
2.17. We had just add 2 days, you're still
So other than the weirdness
2.7 hours.
of coming back on the 14th, we could add that,
We could add the 14th.
right? Other than like it's weird to come back after you had a day off? Or what am I missing or why that we couldn't add that date?
You could, I think,
State basketball.
I think if the committee was here, they would be
The
talking.
state basketball tournament, you're gonna have people staying.
Yeah, that may happen too. State basketball may happen too. But
Yeah,
if
that's,
the, and
that's
Pat,
basically part of spring break. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
the day before.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
Yeah.
I know normally that's when we would travel, so you probably do have a lot of kids that would be out.
it's conference release for
They're
the
so
2
popular.
evenings. of work.
Everybody loves it.
Okay, so it looks like we're at Saturday and Sunday.
That was a suggestion on newscast, so
That would go over real.
I don't know, I think we're going around and around, and I think the majority of us agree that while it's not ideal, 2 days with the 5 minutes is probably our best bet in the long run.
2 days and 5 minutes for everybody or 5 minutes
Everyone.
for
Everyone.
high school?
See,
Everyone.
I think that's.
We figured there's kids in high school that are gonna be taking care of the
Then,
youngers.
yeah, then you're changing your staggered pickups. And, yeah, or,
Busing.
so then the question is the 18th and the 21st, the days we go with. I mean, I don't know what other days we go.
What, what,
If
What,
we add, if we
21st?
go the 2 and add 5,
that's all you need to do.
right, but are we're sticking with 1821?
That was a suggestion from the committee right out.
Or are there any other days that look better? I don't even know if we have any.
There's no other days that they're off.
Except seniors could go to 16th, and that, I don't know what that does.
Yeah, I know.
I don't.
I saw a latest plan. They're doing the same thing, adding 3, which will be what we are in the end, and adding 5 minutes. I haven't seen any other districts, but I mean, we're not the only ones in this predicament.
I have actually, but I don't remember what they're doing.
It's happening across the state. I'm gonna make the motion that we add back the 18th and 21st and 5 minutes to the end of the school days after spring break.
What, are we gonna talk about the policy for finals? Like, would that be,
No, I think that's unofficial.
Yeah.
Second.
I'm not ready to vote, I mean.
Oh, do we
That
have-
it's up on the,
Yeah, we have a motion,
I don't know about the
and we do have a
finals, so-
second.
There can be more discussion though.
What about?
Yeah, there could be more
Yeah,
discussion.
there'll be more discussion.
I just feel strongly about the half day, making it full, and then just getting the kids to middle school. So can we talk about why that's not a good idea? Like, not affecting the middle school and the elementary students or for any of this, just go like the half day and be done with them and not drag them out.
Why it's okay to have the high school go the 18th and the 21st and not the middle school and elementary school? For the same reason that it's not okay to only add the 5 minutes to the high school. What if those high school kids are watching their younger kids? Then they're in school and their younger siblings are not.
Well, it wouldn't, oh, I see, like watching the siblings on the news.
It probably happens more than you know.
Do we have to extend the day though for the elementary and middle school?
That's what I don't get, why we have dead fighters.
Well, if you don't, you're in the same predicament though. If your elementary kids are home and your high schoolers are going,
Yeah,
you're still gonna be short on.
still home alone.
What about finals? That's my biggest thing at this point. So obviously we're not gonna. You know, I know someone that's got doctor appointments for their kids on that Friday. So, you know, and I made it for that Friday because there's no school.
I'm sure there are people who do.
Yeah, that's just what and I don't know if it
I'm
needs to be
fine
an
with it.
emotion, you know, so it's out there, or we can all just agree.
I think we can all just agree.
I don't know.
I don't think we need a
I don't think we need a
motion.
motion on that.
We can all just agree.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
I'm good.
Say that again.
Can we just agree that those 2 days won't count towards, and there's probably if there's anybody that'll affect.
Right.
But in case it does, we have an
Won't count
answer.
towards the finals.
Yeah, I know, I mean,
Yeah.
like we were talking, the 13th, my kids all have
I mean, realistically, if you have doctor's appointment, you can get a note.
Yeah, I mean, those would be
I mean,
excuse
Oh, yeah.
that.
Excuse that.
No, you bring up doctor's note. Need it for work.
You never, I just think if we all.
Yeah, I don't think
No,
it's.
I think that we can come to that agreement.
But wouldn't the high school be getting out 3:10, middle school 3:15, and elementary still 3:25? You have 15 minutes to get from the high school.
Have you ever left the high school when it gets out?
I don't know.
I'll tell you, it's packed
Yeah,
up
I
on my
know.
Yeah,
road.
I barely make
I
it,
just-
I mean, I'm already late to get a middle school kid, so.
Okay, more discussion? We do have a motion and a second. Anyone else before we vote? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same?
Aye.
So we will add those days, 2 days back into the calendar, 5 minutes after school break, and it will be understood that the 2 days do not count towards the finals policy.
I mean, it's not ideal, but I don't,
Yeah, full disclosure, this was a mess. I mean, not because of anybody's doing, it's just the way it turned out. So there was not gonna be any situation
there's
that was
not.
gonna make everybody
Like I
happy.
said, family member in Olathe that sent me theirs, and they're literally doing exactly what we are. I mean, we're not the only,
And there's only
This
so
really
many recipes we have to make it work. So, yeah.
We will do the best we can to make state basketball work. We'll know that here pretty soon, because
Yep.
this brings us right back to, right back to even, basically, so.
Okay.
Thank you guys for
Meeting's
giving us
adjourned.
time
Thank you.
tonight.
thank you.
Appreciate it.